we go again. Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to the very first official episode, the real first episode of your two dads, your digital two dads, the ones you can always rely on.
That
I am.
is right.
I'm your virtual dad, Cory, and with me is your virtual dad, Dan.
Hey, what's up?
And we're gonna give you a quick list of our accomplishments, rundown of what we've done in life, and just to start things out, so you know who we are. I'm a father, a proud father of one, and he's a wonderful, nearly 2-year-old boy, and thought he was going to be one of many, and he's not. He's one of one, and that's cool too. Maybe that'll change by accident later on. It'll be a happy one though, and that's about the long and short of mine. Like I said, I wanted to have more and I didn't. So here we are with one just adorable handful. What about you, Dan?
Yes, I am also a father of one. Yeah, I work every day trying to provide for her. She's about almost three, about 2.5. She's a handful, but I love her to death. I also wanted at least one more, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Maybe by happy accident one day. Maybe not. We'll see. But I'm happy with the one I have, and hopefully we can mold her into a great young woman someday.
And these are the ones that we're willing to admit, anyways. I
Yeah,
mean, obviously there might be others, and I can't say, whether that is the case for sure. Just that there may be others. I don't raise those, so I can't claim them, and we're not going to talk about them. We're actually going to pretend that I didn't say that, just in case, for like legal purposes. And
allegedly.
allegedly, that was all alleged. Allegedly, allegedly, allegedly. In fact, I might cut it out entirely. Today, we're going to come at you with something strong. We're going to come at you with, forgotten what it was. What's our topic today, Dan?
One parent overruling the other when making decisions slash different parenting styles, maybe, or rules when the other one's not around.
Complicated enough, but you'll come around to it. It took me a little while to get it all straight in my head. If I did it, I'm sure you could too. It's basically from my personal POV, I look at it like myself. I spend a lot of time here with the baby alone. It's not economically smart, I guess, although that doesn't sound smart. It's not really responsible to to work as well. Childcare is so expensive that it makes more sense if I just stay at home and take care of the baby. So that's what I do, and it it works. It works well, and for the most part. But there are times when I've set a standard, or not necessarily standard so much as like I've set a sort of guideline, a sort of I don't know what you want to call it, like a plan.
Foundation.
Yeah, I've set something in place that we abide by pretty much throughout the whole day, be that food or whatever the case may be, and sometimes mommy will come home from work, and that will have to mold a little bit. Things have to change to accommodate the extra parent. It's more of a learning experience as he gets older because we'll have to come more together,
Right.
theoretically. But yeah, there's times where she's like, he needs a routine, and I'm like, he's got a routine, and she's like, no, he needs a real routine.
Right.
So I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, I'm on the coming home from work side, I guess. I guess my wife has probably, well, I know she's set a schedule and I've tried to learn it the best I can, but there are some things that I do probably a little bit different than her. I can't speak to how she does it. I can just go off what she tells me she does and not what to do, but recommends, hey, this is what I do and it seems to work. Well, I have ideas too. Not that that's their, hurts or bad. It's just I have different, we're two different people. We have two different minds and two different sets of ways we grew up. And that's what we emulate, I guess, when we try to raise our kid. It's two different parenting styles, really, or growing up styles, coming together as one. But yeah, there's been times where I've said, I've been the bad guy and say no, and where mine's 2.5 to a little over 2.5 years old. She doesn't like that word. So she'll start fussing and she'll just be like, "Well, just give it to her." And I'm like, "How's she gonna learn like what no means if I say no and then you're like, no, she can have it." Like the most recent incident, not to get too in the weeds, but it was bedtime and she wanted like her juice or something or her milk as we were getting ready for bed. And yeah, we do it sometimes, but I told her no because we were getting ready to brush her teeth, and she was just like, "No, just give it to her. I'm sick of hearing her scream." And I'm just like, "Oh, okay." So we gave it to her because and she's like you. She's home with her all the time, so I know she's probably heard it all day long, and I haven't because I'm at work. But you gotta, I mean, now is the time to teach them stuff like that because they're young, impressionable. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
it is interesting, that we play like opposite
yeah,
parts in the play, but we kind of have like a similar mind frame as far
yeah,
as like, teaching or whatever. Like I will let him stand at the baby gate and just cry,
yeah,
because I know that there's nothing in there for him.
yeah.
He doesn't need to be in the kitchen.
Now, after a minute, I'll get up and like, come on, let's go play with and try to get her attention
Yeah,
off
yeah,
something
yeah. Like
else. But
I will, try to do other things, but like I won't, I won't just be like, okay, fine, go in
yeah,
the kitchen.
yeah, no,
And it's not even that like I'm necessarily worried too much about him being in there. It's just like with the steps and stuff, like
yeah,
it's better if he's not. I mean, I think he's in the kitchen right now.
probably
Um,
sounds like
yeah, sounds like.
it.
I don't know if you can hear that, but like, yeah,
Well, it's like we have like the way our house is built. The all of our sink and washer and dryer and all of our pipes are on the exterior wall, well inside the house, but they're on the wall, the out, the main one of the main four walls of the house. It's on the that side, and that we get a lot of wind. And in the winter now, where it's a little colder, they like to freeze. So we have our sink cabinet doors wide open with one of those little space heaters pointed at it, and we turn it up at night or turn it on at night
yeah.
so that doesn't happen because we've had it happen before.
Southern ingenuity.
Yeah, oh yeah. And so all of our chemicals and shit is right there at her disposal, and she knows how to get past our little makeshift gate. And yeah, I worry about her, but those most of those have childproof caps, and she's not old enough yet to. She could figure it out. Don't get me wrong; she's a smart kid, but not right now. Like so I don't worry too much. But I also, when she goes in there, try to get her out of there as soon as I notice that she's in there without somebody else in there. Like when my wife wants to cook and stuff, she wants to go in there and stand on a stool and help, which is kind of cool. But when somebody's in there, yeah, she can run around in there. But if she's
I
in there by herself, now get back over here.
I found that with as far as like chemicals and stuff, that like the best formula is to let them drink a little bit at a time, and then they get like a tolerance for
Yeah,
it.
get immune to it
Yeah,
after a
because like
while.
that way, if they well when they get behind your back and drink a little bit of bleach, they're gonna have to drink a lot
Yeah,
for it to
well,
affect them
yeah,
because they're already used to drinking a little bit of bleach.
right.
So, you'll have like that little bit of time to turn around and see it to stop it.
Yeah.
It's hard work in the beginning.
Oh yeah,
There's a lot of crying, a lot of throwing up, a lot of bloody vomit.
a lot of pooping.
Yeah, a lot of bloody pooping. But I think one day, if we just hold the course, it things will turn around.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
And at that point, I'll know that we've reached our goal, and that I can stop giving it to him, and that he's gonna be somewhat immune. It's basically like if we lived in Texas, I would let him like get bit by a snake
right,
like again and again,
right,
so that he eventually he would no longer be affected by the venom.
right.
Kind of like those those weird, not say weird, but they're not weird. They're like super popular. They're actually everywhere. Where somebody's like bitten by a vampire or a zombie or something, and where they get the disease that's killing everybody, and they don't die or turn.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean.
yeah, that's gonna be him. It's like if him and a buddy land in a nest of copperheads, then he's gonna walk out with some fang bites or some fang marks.
Yeah.
But his buddies,
But he'll walk out.
yeah, he'll walk out. And that's really all I care about is just him living to see another day.
Right.
And if it takes a little bit of work now, it's kind of like working out.
Yeah.
You work those muscles now so that later on you're able to, I don't know, really lift a car.
If you ever had
Yeah,
to.
if you had to. And that's how I look at it. That's how I look at it. So don't feel too bad if she gets into the chemicals. Just make sure that she's only drinking a little bit at a time.
Right.
And then, once she does it though, it's kind of like you should stick to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
can't just let her drink like dish detergent once. If she does it once,
Yeah.
then you really need to do it again and again after that
Right.
so that she, builds up a tolerance.
Yeah.
Because there's other things in dish soap or laundry detergent or whatever it is that maybe it will protect her from other things
Right.
that have those things.
Well, she's getting on the stool now, so we have to keep everything up
Yeah.
high. So,
I mean, you saw Jackson, like he
oh
would
yeah.
push the chair against the thing and then climb
Oh
up on
yeah.
the chair. So, yeah, I know what you mean. I feel like that's a good, those viral videos. I say viral, but I don't know how viral they are. If I'm seeing them, they're probably like old. Maybe they were viral once, where the people will like do this really pretty spin kick and they'll like knock a cap off of a drink
Oh yeah.
or yeah. I'm gonna start maybe soon. I'm gonna start practicing when he climbs up on the chair. I'm gonna start practicing my spin kicks
Yeah.
and
Kicking him off the
and
chair.
kicking him off the chair.
Embrace your inner Chuck Norris.
Yeah, and maybe I'll learn some grace and he'll learn to behave.
Maybe.
And that's just one of those things that you come here to learn about.
Yeah.
You come you come here for the news is going to work. The
Yeah.
advice that you don't have to worry about,
Right.
that you don't have to double check anywhere else, that you don't have to look up on the internet
Look it up.
because if we tell you, it's true.
That's right.
You don't even have to look it. You don't have to look it up.
We've done our research.
Yeah, we've done the research for you. So just feed your kid bleach a little bit at a time,
Yeah.
and don't look it up.
Well, it'll clean them out too a little bit. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, like look what it does to your clothes. Like,
yeah.
it's probably going to make their insides look so much better.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like they said,
A little constipated, get a little Drano going.
yeah, really.
Just like half a capful.
It's like they were saying on the show the other day, Diet Coke.
I was just thinking of that.
Yeah.
I listened to that today.
Like, look what it does to your engine.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously, it's
Yeah.
going to do the same thing to your insides.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, so I got pretty clean inside.
yeah, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Same thing with bleach. It's pretty much the same thing as Diet Coke.
Yeah, pretty much.
So just drink them both. But yeah, going back to what you were saying about conflicting parenting styles, I I'm lucky that our styles aren't terribly different, if only
Yeah.
because we've kind of melded together. I can't say she's become more like me or vice versa. We just
Right.
kind of come together.
Yeah, same here. I've just noticed a few like subtle differences. Like I feel about some things I'm the stricter one, but other things I'm the more lax one. So, just trying to find that groove.
Yeah, I do seem to have, he doesn't like learn, yet. Like he doesn't know, even to like acknowledge it as like a command. It's just a noise that I make. So, it's hard to like really set hard and fast rules right now.
Yeah.
But, there are times where he will like continuously try to get behind the couch and grab like a lamp so
Hmm.
that he can pull it down or so that he can smash it into a shelf that's right beside it for all I know. There's another time where he will we've fixed this for the most part, but he had a habit of climbing from his dinner chair, whatever you want to call it, up onto one of the end tables that's right beside the very expensive TV and right beside the reasonably expensive blinds. And, he just, of course, as a baby does, just reaching and grabbing and pulling.
Hmm.
So there was a short period before we remedied this that he would continuously climb up, and then I would put him down and say no, and then he'd climb back up and I'd put him down and he'd say no. And I was like, he'll learn. I'll just keep saying no calmly and forcefully, and he'll learn. And he didn't learn.
Hmm.
I had to, as I said, move the chair entirely. It was there in the first place to keep him from going behind the TV.
And he got around that.
Yeah, and then he found the worst thing to do.
I mean, not to sound prehistoric and old school, but
Boomer.
yeah, have you ever thought of not beating the shit out of him, but a little swat on the butt or on the
I
hand?
I've done the butt 3 times maybe. Like it's a lot, it's been a handful of times. But each time I was like, I came away feeling, oh, I didn't hit him hard enough.
Well,
Like he didn't feel that.
did he cry?
No, no.
He just looked at you like, what
One
the
time,
hell?
one time he screamed, but it was no different from his other screams. Like
It was just the shock of something different.
I think that might have been the first time. But since then, he's not acknowledged it at all, and I'm left thinking that either I didn't hit him hard enough, or the diapers are a lot thicker than I thought.
So that's why I like the hand. If you smack him on the hand, it doesn't really hurt, but it stings for like a second or two.
I
And you don't have to, like I said, I'm not saying beat the shit out of your kid because don't do that. That's bad.
No, I would
But
never hurt my kid. I mean,
I mean,
I'm protecting him.
yeah,
Like I feed him bleach because I love him.
right. I was physically disciplined like that as a kid, and I bit my mom twice, and after the second time, she bit me back, and I never bit her again. Like, so no, I'm not saying like I said, don't kick him across the room or anything unless you feel led to, I guess. But if that's your style, but a little
Just
swat on
whatever
the
works
butt,
for
or
you.
I go for the hand because, like I said, they feel it more. Because, like you said, the diaper adds a little padding, and I don't want it to like hurt for hours and hours. I don't even want it to hurt for more than 10 seconds. That's too long. It should only hurt for a couple.
Yeah, like
But
a quick bee sting.
yeah, like
I guess I've done something similar to that. Like, there was one time like he just kept trying to get like he had the chair on one side of the TV, and then on the other side, I thought things were fine. And somehow, he just kept getting back there and pulling off like the vents in the floor.
hmm
And if I don't know how like it's not impossible to get them out; they're not screwed in.
no.
It's like how did it ever get in there in the first place? Like once I'm trying to put it back, I like push it in, one side or the other. So I found that when he pulls it out like that, if I just take it and hit him in the face with it, that he doesn't do it again soon, at
Yeah,
least.
no, yeah,
So and it makes a really loud sound,
yeah,
and it scares him, I'm sure, more than it hurts because it's just a piece of metal.
yeah.
He's a baby and they're resilient.
Oh yeah.
That's like you said, like a sharp slap on the wrist or the back of the hand. I don't want it to hurt like long.
No,
It may,
it may.
and I can't help that, but I don't want it to. And
Right.
I think really that's the point
That is the point.
that I'm trying to make, anyways.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do think similarly in that regard. You
It's
know,
like rubbing your dog's nose and shit when he goes on the carpet.
No, that's inhumane. I would never
Oh,
do.
okay.
I would
Well,
never do that. That's
yeah.
terrible. Can you imagine shoving your kid's nose in poo poo? Like,
Well, no, it's similar to that. Like they messed with the vent, so you take the vent and you hit him with it.
okay, okay,
So
okay.
to teach him not to play with the vent, just like
Well,
teaching your dog not to shit on the carpet.
I think it's more like I think the vent thing is more akin to where the dog will like it shits in the house, and then you're like bad dog,
Oh, okay,
bad dog,
okay.
and then you take it outside. That's that. I think. See, in my mind, it's more like those are more equal. You
Okay.
know, where as you're like you go way out of like I mean if I can imagine that the comparison that if you'd have to make for a child to equal rubbing a dog's face and doo doo, it's got to be a fireable offense.
I guess.
Anyways, this is all just a long way of saying that I really do feel where you're coming from on your parenting style. And I think that you should go tell next time you have an issue, you need to go tell your wife, who you may or may I can't even know if maybe we shared their name before. I don't know. I was in another podcast with this one guy, and he was like, I don't want to say any of my kids' names, and yeah, I don't want to say my wife's name. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, are you afraid that like someone's going to track you down or something? But that with that being said, you should go to your wife and be like, you say to do it like this, but I was talking to Cory, and this is how he does it, and it works for him.
Yeah,
So
I'm sure she'll go for it.
yeah, and well, now I bet she's gonna say something about like, well, Jackson's a boy,
True.
and you can't hit a girl with
That's
a vent.
that's very true. And we don't really have any vents that are accessible. But
Yeah,
I know what you mean though. Like she messes with my phone, I just smack her in the face with
yeah, yeah, yeah. What I'm about to go upstairs and find out what he's dropping on the floor again and again, and
it.
then hit him with that. I don't know if you can hear that over the recording. Maybe that'll come out in post. So you think that so is it only successful if you guys kind of meld the style, or is there some times where, in your opinion, maybe one parent like just comes in with like a much better idea of how to do things, and then like the other one just falls in line? Are they about equal or
Yeah, I mean, I mean, if you want to be a successful parenthoodship, whatever you want to call it.
parenthood ship?
Yeah, whatever.
I think we've heard a shirt idea.
Yeah.
Parenthood ship.
Um,
Oh,
if you
mark it
want to,
down.
if you want to be successful parents, there you go. Proper English. Words are tough. Then I think you do have to combine styles and see what, I mean, it's all trial and error, right? These damn kids don't come with a manual. I mean, that would be nice, but
It would be nice if they did. Yeah.
I think you have to, because like I said earlier, you're two different people coming from two different backgrounds with two different ideas on how to do things. It's just like a marriage. You got to compromise and figure out what works best. And, I mean, like I said, ours aren't too, like, between me and my wife, it's not too different. I can't say what she, like I said, I only know what she tells me. But, like, we're not so different. Like, we pretty much want the same thing for her and want her to learn. And we just do things maybe a different way, but we get the same result because, like I said, we're two different people.
I guess really, as long as one of you's not, I don't know, worshiping the devil with the child, with the other
Yeah.
one's not around.
Yeah.
Like if you want to worship the devil, that's fine. I'm just saying, like, try not to do anything extreme
Yeah.
when mom or dad or whoever's not around.
Yeah.
And I think you'll be all right. Like, as long as you're reasonably similar, like, as long as the child wears clothes, no matter what parent's there,
Yeah.
and, as long as there's not like, drunk people around partying,
Yeah.
regardless of which parent's there, regular things. I think as long as,
Yeah.
both of you kind of come together for the most part, you're going to be all right.
Mm-hmm.
There obviously there are times, like you said, where she's like, just give it to her.
Yeah.
Well, like, okay, she has been dealing with it all day, but the child's also been that way all day. So
Yeah.
maybe it is time to kind of give a little bit. You weren't there necessarily, so maybe she has been playing it your way, all that time.
Maybe.
And at this point, she's like, I tried that all day. Just give it to her.
Right.
I don't know
I mean,
most
it's
things.
little trivial stuff, but sometimes when it's a lot, which it hasn't been building up with me for a while, but like sometimes it's just like, damn it, I said something. We're supposed to, this is what we set forth, and here you go, giving in. Like,
Yeah, like I could see, like
I see both sides of it too. Like I said, you know more about dealing with the kid all day because you stay home with theirs all day. I don't. So
well,
maybe, like you said, she's tried it. No, 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 and then finally was like, God Almighty, all right, enough.
yeah.
You know?
I mean, there are, as I said, there are certainly things like that, but like at other times, it's more your way because if it's something along the lines of, I think we spoke about this in one of our test episodes. Catch those, they're going to be dropping at the same time as this. The audio on all of them is kind of shitty, but they were our pilot episodes, so to speak. They were two long ones. I broke them into four. So if you like this, you'll like those, and the audio is not that bad. I cleaned it up a little bit. Anyway, now it's like as I said, there are times where, okay, I've tried this all day and it didn't work. Like we'll relax a little bit now. But at the same time, as I said, in our previous episodes, that we're trying to break the child of the pacifier. And,
Mm,
I have gone all day without giving it to him. Okay, that when he wakes up from a nap, I don't immediately take it from him, but I do shortly thereafter. And other than that, if he's not sleeping, he doesn't have it. Now, if Gloria came home and she just immediately threw the pacifier in his mouth, then that would be a problem.
yeah.
And, but she doesn't. Um, and, I'm just saying, for example, like, that's something that we have established that we're going to do. And
Yeah, you guys have talked about that though.
yeah,
Yeah,
and for her to then go back on that, that's a different story.
right.
But for the most part, there's leeway.
Yeah,
Nothing like just like life, it's not black and white.
no,
Sometimes it just here's another your two dads facts. Sometimes, it just depends.
yeah. You know
It
what?
just
Maybe.
yeah, maybe. And you have to take that into account.
Yeah,
There sometimes, oftentimes, there is no necessarily like full on right or wrong.
yeah,
You can't be like, oh, we did that wrong. Like well, you might have done it a little bit right.
yeah. Or you might have
Or
done it completely wrong.
yeah, you might have done it completely wrong, but you meant to do it right, and
Yeah,
that's not as bad.
no,
You have to keep that in mind when when you're raising your little one, and I
yeah,
think we have to keep that in mind as our little ones get to be bigger ones.
yep,
It's you do your best,
yeah,
and as long as you did what you did with that in mind, you can't really feel all that bad.
no.
Like as long as you didn't scar the child
Well,
emotionally
yeah.
or
I mean,
physically.
if you did your best and were, there for your kid and didn't,
Yeah, like
you didn't,
whatever the case may be,
yeah,
from something
just
as little,
supported them fully, like no
yeah,
matter what.
whether it's pacifier or junk food or riding a bicycle
Yeah,
or graduating high school, whatever the case may be, like there's not a right or wrong thing or
yeah,
right or wrong way 100%.
no,
It's it's gonna depend. It's really gonna depend.
yeah.
Parenthoodship or whatever it is.
Parenthoodship. That's right.
I feel like there's another one in there somewhere. It's like parenthood leadership. I don't know what it was, but it was. I can go back. I'll get it. I'm gonna have to start, as I said, in those early pilot episodes. We're gonna get some merch, and hopefully, all jokes aside, laying it all on the table. Hopefully, this merch gets us some listeners,
Mm,
and then those listeners will listen and they'll be like, God damn, they're awesome.
yeah.
Those guys are so cool, and they like have it all together, and their audio is great. And I don't know how they do it, but I really want to hear more of them, and I'm going to tell all my friends.
Hey, tell away.
And like that's just what that's just how it's going to go one day,
Hmm.
and I'm positive of that, sure of that. Sure of that. But that being said, I don't know. We've been recording for like 33 minutes and we had actually been intending to record a lot longer, but you know what? Things happen.
Yeah,
Things happen.
yeah.
And I'm not gonna let it get to me. I've got a peaceful, easy feeling. I'm just gonna rock that feeling and we will adapt, we will improvise, we will adapt, and we will overcome. And I think it's really just a matter of growing.
SNA.
I think, yeah, yeah, I guess that'll do it. You guys got things to do, and we got things to do, and thanks for joining us on our first real episode. This is our grand opening.
Grand opening.
This is our hard and fast open. This isn't one of them soft openings. We actually this is our soft opening with the pre-episodes, and then our hard, firm, erect opening
Hell yeah.
with this episode. And so, we hope you like it. We hope you tell everybody. I'm going to share it and bother as many people as I can, and hopefully when you hear this you'll feel like I was justified in doing that because it brought you in and you loved it and you can't wait for more.
Yeah.
And we will be back again next week. No, the week after. I don't know. We'll be back.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, these things change. These things have to be fluid when you have technical issues.
Yep.
So we'll be back, and I know that you'll be just eagerly awaiting that. And until then, you know what? when you go out there and you live your life to the fullest.
Yeah. Livin.
Yeah, and when you love with all your heart.
Yeah.
And when you laugh, just laugh like you've got gas with Joker gas.
Hey.
And
Yeah.
and if you do all those things, I think you're gonna be good to go.
Hmm.
I guess until next time, that's gonna do it for us here at Your Two Dads. I'm Corey.
I'm Dan.
You take it easy. Check you later.